Georgia. There we go.
Here we go.
We are good, Dr. Osler.
Get us going.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Asea 5. My name is Dr. Lee Osler, and I'm one of the co-hosts tonight. We will excuse our brilliant Princess Maureen Hayes, who is not with us tonight. She's with her family, and we hope that she enjoys her time away. I'm joined tonight with Jim and Ann Glenn. If you could wave to us, they're from San Antonio, Texas. And we have the lovely Donnellyn Dominguez with us this evening, who has been with us a few times in the past. So we're looking forward to having a great session with her. She's a licensed midwife and has had some great experiences in the healthcare arena. We will begin by making a disclaimer. We will be talking about some nutritionally based supplement products that are regulated in that regard. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure diseases, and therefore we won't be speaking about specific diseases, but we will be speaking a lot about cellular health. So with that said, let's jump right in and welcome Donnellyn. Thank you for being with us again tonight.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate you asking me back.
Well, it's a delight to have you. I think that we've got a lot of new people that will be joining us tonight. I will be watching this in rewind in the future. Perhaps you could begin by just explaining, a little bit of how you wound up here. What is it that brought you to this place? I've listened to this story 2 or 3 times, and I'm always intrigued by your thought processes and what was going on in your head and your heart as you were introduced to this. And maybe you could start there and just tell us, what's your story?
Well, my story was not very happy or positive. I was a busy midwife. I've been a midwife for 17 years. I owned a birth center for 10 years of that. And during that time, I was delivering 6 to 16 babies a month. So I was working 60, 80, 90 hours a week, sometimes not sleeping for 40 hours straight. And I noticed that there was something abnormal that probably needed to be checked. And when I got a bad report and ended up having surgery, then I began to look for something natural. The medical arena is great, and I love and appreciate them. But the particular treatment that I had did not agree with me. And I had some major challenges with my pituitary gland afterwards. So I stopped all of the medical treatment and began to look for something natural, because after all, I'm a midwife, right? I should be able to find something. And after 16 months of looking and trying everything alternative to the tune of about $20,000, I was approached and given the redox signaling molecules actually in May of 2017. And when I got it home and tasted it, I thought I had been scammed. Number one, I hated anything network marketing. I was negative Nelly when it came to that. And but I used a lot of those products because I knew there were some of the best things on the market, marketed that way. So I signed up. My nutritionist actually helped me and sent a bottle home with me, and I tasted it and went, oh my gosh, this is swimming pool water. What have I been given? What have I signed up for? And I was busy. And because of the original surgery that was done the year before, my other knee was in very bad shape. I'd kind of gotten bone on bone, limping around for so long. And so I was uncomfortable and didn't have a pituitary gland. So I was on medicines, replacement that wore off about 6 p.m. So I had to go to bed at 6. And I was busy. You know, when you own your business, you don't just take off sick leave because you've got to pay the bills. and the staff and the everything else. So I just kept working and trying not to let anybody know that I was sick, which was kind of a challenge, but I was trying. And so I had knee replacement in August of that year, and I still hadn't started drinking the Asea, refused to answer the phone or the text. And Jim kind of took over trying to contact me. My original sponsor moved to another state, and I think she kind of gave up. She understood that I wasn't going to respond. And so Jim just kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. He invited me to convention in 2017, and it was amazing. I understand. I wish I'd gone, but I was ignoring him. I did not want to go to a meeting. I didn't want to go to a convention. I didn't want to see a Zoom. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want him to come do a meeting in my birth center, which I thought is what he wanted to do. So I was just negative and hateful and ugly and despondent and felt bad. And I mean, the list is long. It was bad. But in December, I finally got to a place that I was desperate enough and felt bad enough. I guess the timing was just right. And Jim called me on December 4th, and I was honestly as low as a snail's belly. I could not have gotten any sadder, getting sort of to the point that I had lost my will to live. I didn't know how long I had. I didn't know if I'd see my twins graduate from college. They were 20. Didn't know if I'd get to be at their reception dinners, if they ever got married. You know, that kind of stuff goes through your head when you have to go to bed at 6 p.m. every single night, and I had no choice. So I was not in a good place. But he called that day, and I answered the phone. Two miracles. I answered the phone, and I told him the truth because I didn't know him, and I'm a very private person. So when I answered the phone, he said, how are you doing? And I said, I'm not doing too well. And he said, are you drinking the Redox? I said, no, I'm not drinking that stuff. It tastes like a swimming pool. I'm not going to drink that. And he said, well, I said, I don't even know what it is. He said, let me send you the research. So he sent me all the stuff that we send everybody. Back then we didn't have the 7-minute video, but he sent me amazingmolecules.com, and he sent me the Tart Lab study, and he sent me the Asea science and all the things I was demanding to understand. And he said it's 100% non-toxic. And when you put the redox signaling molecules back into your body will know how to heal itself. And I said, well, that sounds too good to be true, so it probably is. I don't believe you for a minute. And honestly, I was that ugly to him. I ask him to forgive me every time I tell my story, even when he's not present. But I didn't believe that there was anything, because I had tried so many things and I was so sad and depressed at that point. So I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll be my own guinea pig. I will try this product. I've got 7 cases now because I had never turned off auto ship. And so I'll try it just to prove to you that it's not going to work, just like everything else hadn't worked. And don't expect me to talk to anybody. I'll let you know how I'm doing. Well, of course, anybody that knows Jim knows he didn't leave me alone. But I did begin to drink. And he said it was non-toxic. So I thought if a little's good, more is better. I have learned from your book, Lee, that that's not always the best philosophy. But that was my philosophy at the time. And I'm kind of glad it was, because I think God used that extra to help my body get sort of a jump start. And I drank 2 ounces twice a day for about 3 days, and then I doubled it, and then I doubled it, and then I increased until I was up to about 28 or 32 ounces a day. And right before Christmas, I started on December 4th, right before Christmas, I was wrapping Christmas presents, and my husband came in and said, do you know what time it is? I went, no, I have no idea. He said, it's 11 o'clock. I said, it's 11 o'clock and I'm still awake and I feel good. He said, it's 11 o'clock. I went, oh my gosh. So I went to bed praying, God, please don't tease me. I always get choked up because I didn't have any hope. And that night I did have hope because I thought maybe this product is helping my body have what it needs to heal. Just like Jim said, maybe he was telling the truth. So I went to bed praying, please don't tease me. Don't let me get my hopes up and then be disappointed again because I knew I couldn't handle it emotionally. But good news, I woke up with good energy the next day and the next day and the next day. My 21-year-old student said she couldn't keep up with me, and I loved that. And then that knee that would not get well, 2 weeks later, I was rubbing the gel, which I thought this stuff isn't doing anything, doesn't smell like anything, doesn't feel like anything. And back then, we didn't know about 3 times in 5 minutes. That wasn't being taught, or if it was, I hadn't heard it. So I was just putting it on twice a day, thinking this is doing nothing, but I said I'd use it, so I'm going to. And 2 weeks later, after I stayed up late, they called me to come downstairs quickly, and I trotted to the bottom of the stairs like I was 15 years old. And that had been the first time my knee wasn't uncomfortable, it wasn't swollen, and it wasn't stiff. And when I got to the bottom, I was a brand new kind of excited. I thought, oh my gosh, this is creating a workaround in my pituitary gland so I can stay up like normal people till 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. I can go out to dinner again. I can have social events with people again. And then it's helping my body heal this joint. I just couldn't believe it. But it confirmed everything that Jim had told me, that our bodies are biointelligent, and that when they have redox signaling molecules, our body knows how to heal. So he had begun to share other people with me, introducing me on 3-way calls. And I kept thinking, surely this many people can't be lying, because it was all good. And you don't expect that. I sure didn't. So my life was given back to me. And then I just told everybody about my miracle. And I still didn't have time to mess with this at all and didn't want to. But people would say, wow, I want to feel as good as you do. Do you think it would work for fill in the blank? And I'd always say, they say it works for anything that involves cells. So, and it's guaranteed, 30-day guarantee. So try it and see. I mean, I don't know, call Jim. So I'd send them to Jim and he'd help them get started. And I kept working. He didn't force me to come to an event in January. And I was so thrilled because I met Tyler and Maureen, and I met Jim and Ann for the first time and saw the integrity of the company. And I was very impressed. It was not the same negative impression I had been left with years ago. And so I came away going, this really is a good thing. I need to help people get their life back like I did. And then in a few weeks, Jim called and said, are you ever going to set up your smart wallet? And I said, what's a smart wallet? And he said, they're trying to pay you. And I'm like, they're going to pay me? I mean, I was just having fun sharing my victory, my miracle, my blessing. I had no idea that I was going to make money. And I was shocked when I opened my smart wallet. Of course, it'd been several weeks then. So I couldn't believe the amount of my bonus checks. So then I thought, you know what? I am at an age that I probably ought to think about the potential here and be a little bit more intentional, because eventually I'll have to quit delivering babies, especially since I've had this health challenge. So Jim helped me a lot, but I began to plug in and understand more and learn more, and moved up pretty quickly. I think by the time we went to that seminar, I was silver, and I didn't know what that meant. I got recognized for it, and they're like, how'd you get to silver? And I'm like, I don't know. don't even know what that means. So I have created a reputation for myself for being a ding dong the entire time I've been in the business. I'm not good with technology, and I've made big messes with trying to be a presenter. But you know what? People don't care. They're so forgiving. And it's been such a blessing that if you're sincere about what happened to you and you love the product and you show people what it'll do and you use the tools that the company has created for us, the company can't, I mean, your team can't help but grow because everybody that uses it loves it because it actually works. You know, it's kind of interesting that something works. So it kind of grows organically, and that's what has happened to me. I began to introduce it to my clients because I am a licensed healthcare provider, and what I practiced with everything I used was informed consent, whether it was a state law or a supplement or whatever. I educated them. They make their own decisions about what they want to do with their body and their baby, which is the reason a lot of people go to midwives. And as I did that, about probably 25 to 30% of the girls in my classes, I would educate with childbirth classes, and about 25 to 30% decided they wanted to use the Redox during their pregnancy. So I monitored them very closely, and they all did amazingly well. I had absolutely non-complicated pregnancies, great deliveries, less complications than I had ever seen as a whole, and no challenges in postpartum. Now, like Lee said, we don't claim to cure, heal, prevent anything, and I'm not, but I am telling you that when your body has redox signaling molecules and a challenge comes along, it knows how to correct it. So,
Donnellyn,
yes.
could I have you maybe expand on that? Because a little bit ago, you used the word that our bodies are biointelligent.
Yes.
Could you maybe drill into that just a little bit? When you say the bodies know what to do, what is this biointelligence, and how does that play into that story?
Interesting that you would be asking me that question, but I will answer. Our bodies being biointelligent means that God created it to know what was the most important issue to fix now, and then we can work on the other stuff later. So, you know, when there's a car accident, your organs are what are protected. Your body does that. So your fingers and toes may not be in great shape, but your body is going to save your heart and lungs and internal organs. It's the same thing when we are taking redox signaling molecules and helping our body repair whatever is wrong. If I had a heart issue, it would take care of the heart issue first, and then it would take care of the knee issue or the pain in my back or, you know, whatever. The most important thing is going to be the thing that our body automatically addresses at first. And then it will go down the line and repair everything. I think, in my own humble opinion, that is why I keep feeling better and better the older I get. I'm 4 years older than I was when I started, about to be 71, and I feel better than I did when I was 50. And I think that is because my body continues to repair things. So you kind of age backwards, and you feel good, and you think you can do things whether you really can or not. You think you can because you feel so good. And it's exciting. It's exciting to feel good again, especially after having that experience. Sometimes I look back and go, was I really that sick? Because it sounds bad. But you know what? I looked at pictures the other day. It was bad. I was really sick. And now I'm really well. My labs are perfect. Everything the doctor can do is perfect. He told me I was a mystery to him. He didn't know why I was alive. And I said, well, I have a lot of people praying, but do you remember me telling you about redox signaling molecules? He said, oh yeah, you can take that stuff if you want to. I went, no problem, I'm going to. So, I mean, I'm healthy. I'm very healthy. Every doctor I go to, which I don't go very often, but I did go to a primary care recently because I hadn't been in 3 years. He did all the labs, and the only thing he could find was my bad cholesterol was about 11 points higher than he thought it should be. And that's the only thing. Everything else was perfect. I went, well, I'll take it. That's not too bad, and I'll correct that one. So this is a miracle in a bottle as far as I'm concerned. And everyone deserves to know about it. Everyone deserves to have their health back. We can't get out of aging. We can't. I mean, there's only one way. And that's not bad. You know, we'll go to a better place, but if you can be here and age and feel better instead of worse, and stay healthy instead of having to resign ourselves to a rocking chair or a television set because we don't feel like doing anything else, it's a good thing. This is a gift that we need to share with the world. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. I've been having fun for 4 years now, telling everybody that would listen. I don't ever try to force anybody, but I tell them, you deserve to know about this. You know, you deserve to feel better as you get older. You deserve to have that issue. Your body has a chance to correct that. And I really think with all my heart that God kept me alive so that I would help other people. I guess he knew I had a big mouth. So
Donnellyn, I just want to throw in real quick, because you continually say that you were not very nice back in the beginning, but I don't, honest to God, I don't remember that. I always knew that you were very busy, and the people that signed you up had just said Donnellyn is a very well thought of, one of the top midwives in the state of Texas. They had told me that you had an upcoming, I think, knee procedure where you had your knee replaced. I honestly don't think I remember them saying that you had that other issue, but they just said she's extremely busy, well thought of, highly, highly respected. So I knew in the beginning that you were very, very busy. But I honestly don't remember you being, as you say, rude and mean. I really don't. So stop saying that.
I was. That's just because you were a broker and you were used to the abuse.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lee, real quick.
You never said once that she had an attitude or anything. So.
No, but Lee, real quick, can you go ahead and do the disclaimer that we always do? And then Donnellyn, I want you after that to come in. How would you explain this to someone brand new that you're going to see tomorrow in Lubbock, Texas? So Lee, if you don't mind, just do the disclaimer real quick. I'm not sure if we did that in the beginning or not.
A little bit, but it wasn't.
Yes, we actually did, and it's a good idea to always
Right.
repeat it so that people don't misunderstand
What they
the
just got on. Yeah.
the place of this is a supplement, and it's not to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease or named medical condition. We're here to support cellular health.
That's great. That's great.
Well, that was pretty simple. Okay.
So tomorrow, Lubbock, what would you say?
Donnellyn, what would you say if someone pulls you off to the side? They know nothing about this. They're not medical. How would you explain this? What do we have? What is this stuff?
This stuff is redox signaling molecules. Have you ever heard of redox signaling molecules?
No, I have not.
Well, they're created in our cells to help our body know where to go to detect, protect, repair, or replace cells that aren't working properly. And everyone has them, but we lose the number that we have as we age, 10% per decade or 1% per year after puberty. And even young people, if you get to talking to them have issues. They had an
Mhm.
injury from high school that still hurts. They're having trouble running or doing their sport because, that they're in discomfort. A lot of young people I have found have stomach issues, gut issues because of the stress they're under. Or they're on antidepressants or anti-panic medicine, some kind of anxiety issues. And so I just explained to people that when we drink redox signaling molecules, put them back in our body knows what to do. And it will heal itself. It's not the product that does it. Our bodies do it. The product is just enabling our bodies to have cellular communication, which is the way God designed us. We were designed to heal. You know that it's going to take a little time. If you break your arm, you don't go into the doctor the next week and say, take this cast off. I expect that to be well. It's going to take time. And that's what this does. But there's nothing else on the market that addresses the issues we have on a cellular level. So we are cutting edge new biotechnology that everybody needs to understand and be a part of. And then I always use the tools.
Okay, well, I'm confused. Pretend it's me. But it says down here, Donnellyn, you handed me the bottle, and it says it's a dietary supplement. And I'm really scratching my head because on the back of it, it says it's water and sodium chloride. That's where a lot of people have a massive stumbling block. How do you explain that?
I tell them they did start out with salt water. That's the exact same thing that's in our cells. If you go to the hospital and get an IV, it's going to be salt water. It's not going to be water out of the faucet. You die. So you'll get sodium chloride in an IV, but they start with that. The 3-day electrolysis process, the 3-day process that they put it through at the corporation breaks down those molecules and rearranges them to exactly match the redox signaling molecules in our cell. So this is innate to our body. You can't be allergic to it. It can't not work. It is the same thing God created and put in our cells. And it's created through the process that's highly patented and took, 10, 15 years to discover and stabilize. And here we are with a company now that is the only one on the market that has it.
Okay, so then the other big one that you had an issue with, why network marketing as a way to distribute this to you, to me, to Lee Osler, to everybody out there? Why that?
Well, Curtis Norton is why I always give them the Asea Genesis because it is such a blessing to me. But at the beginning, everybody knows how negative I was about network marketing. I hated it from previous experience, which isn't fair. But now I am as much a cheerleader as I was a negative Nelly about that at the beginning, because Curtis Norton bought this little biotech company, stabilized the product. His intention at the beginning was to fix it and flip it and sell it to his friends at Big Pharma and, retire. But when they gave it to their friends and family, church members, to see if anyone would drink it before they called in Big Pharma, people began to have amazing results. And they knew a lot of those people. And so when they called the Big Pharma people and said, okay, we've got it stabilized, we've got it fixed, people are drinking it, it's working, we think you need to come look. Well, they came in and said, yeah, we think you've got something here, but, and we want it. And we'll give you a check so big that you won't ever have to think about money again. And that might be a temptation for somebody in their 60s, 69, in fact, to think, I don't have to worry if I just take the check. But he said, there's one condition. you've got to take it away from all the people that are drinking it. We have to have everything out there. And he said, well, that seems kind of harsh because some of my people are getting results and I don't know how well they'll do without it. And the big pharma guy said, that's life. They'll just have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so grateful that Verta said, well, there's the door. See ya.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if he hadn't done that, I would not be sitting here talking to you. And I know that. I know that my body was able to heal because we gave it back redox signaling molecules. The medical profession had done everything that they could do, and I almost died from those procedures. So I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
when I met Vertus in 2018 at my first convention, I was amazed when I saw him walking down the hall, and I ran up to him and Bonnie and said, Vertus, I just have to thank you for what you did. I'm so grateful because I have my life back. And he reached out his hands and said, tell me. So I held his hands and told him my story.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Cried. We both just cried. And I thought, if he's that tender toward me, I'm one of tens of thousands now.
Mhm.
I mean, this is a sincere man with a heart for the people. And regardless of where he was when he was trying to decide whether to sell it or, distribute it. But bottom line is he said no to big pharma. And then they began to look for a way to help the people. He knew that people would tell people because the test group of 40 turned into 135 in 5 weeks. So he knew people would tell people. So he just researched until he found the very best networking system. And I mean, we're so blessed because he really was out for us in that aspect too. He wasn't in it for the money. I don't think Vertus needed money at that point, but he knew he had a gift for the world. And he decided to make it a legacy company, and his whole family eventually locked arms with him and took on the mandate of, this is something we need to do. We don't want to do it just because it could be profitable. We need to do this for mankind. And I think that's what they still believe. I've sat with Tyler in his office or in the conference room the end of last year and visited with him. And they're sincere. There is no doubt in my mind that that whole company and all the people that work there are great people that love people.
Definitely. Well, I know you have such a great story. Of course, mamas and babies have great stories. How about Chris? How has this journey been for him? And just kind of fill us into his journey these last several years.
Well, interesting story there. I was all excited and running gung ho because I had my health back. And I'd say, Chris, are you drinking the Redox? Oh, yeah, I'm drinking it. He'd drink it when I'd say, well, drink some now. Okay, so he'd drink it, but he wasn't really drinking it. And he kind of felt like it was my thing and helping me. And so he just let me have it. Well, in October, I got well the end of 17 and first of 18 and really got back to normal life and was loving it, running hard again. And in October of 2018, I had a redox workshop in my birth center. And he had gone home a little early because he felt funny, felt bad, thought he had a flu bug. And so the end of the meeting came and he was going to come back and pick me up. I said, no, don't do that. Austin can take me home. And he had already started. So he turned back around and got back to the house about the time we got there. And I watched him get out of the car and hold on to the wall all the way in. And I thought, that's not a flu bug. Something's wrong. So I grabbed my blood pressure cuff and stethoscope out of the car and went in and and there's going to be lots of rehab. So we lived in rehab centers for the next 7 weeks. And I brought him in a bottle a day. And believe me, he drank it. Poor guy.
He didn't have a choice. Yeah.
Poor guy. Poor guy. He wanted to by then. And he had so much, he felt so bad that he hadn't listened to his wife. So when he tells his story, he always tells you guys, listen to your wives, you know. Yep. But I brought him a bottle a day. And at the end of 7 weeks, they kicked us out of rehab because insurance wouldn't pay for it anymore, not necessarily because he was ready to go home and be on his own. But when they did, he walked out of the center. He walked out. Great. 7 weeks later. And I mean, we just consider everything, all the miracles that we have experienced, and it's been more than just him. Other family members have just had miraculous things happen, but Chris continues to get better. He got a great report from the doctor just the other day. An area they were watching, the doctor said, is perfect. Absolutely no concerns. And every time he goes, he has gotten great improvement. It's been 3 years now, 3.5 years. But he walks without his cane most of the time, not out of the house, but inside the house. And he has full use of everything. His left hand is not as useful as his right, but he's doing absolutely amazing. So we've both got a huge testimony, and we both know that we probably would not have been around for very long had it not been for Redox, and we're grateful.
You know, Donnellyn, the three of us, the four of us here, we've all had we had an issue that brought us to these molecules. What would you say to the people out there that, that's kind of what I wrote down earlier, we take everything for granted until? What would you say to them to get on it before that happens?
Shows up. Yeah.
You know, being proactive for your health. And it's not just older people. I mean, you worked with a lot of young couples. Yes. That had a lot of issues. What would you say to them to get them to do this?
I tell everybody, Jim, that you have a choice. You can either invest in your health or you can pay to try to recover it. And I've done both, and it's painful to do the second. It really is. So invest in it while you still have it. Stay healthy. Don't go through the horrible situations that cause you to lose time and lose hope and lose work and lose, all of the things. Don't do that. You have an option. You invest in your health hopefully in the nutrition that you eat, the good food, and it all works together. Lee has taught me this very well. Our choices in food are important, and good sleep, which I wasn't getting as a midwife, and clean water and exercise. All of the things are important, but help your cells to continue to signal instead of waiting until you have an issue, because it's no fun. That's no fun. And I believe in life being fun. It needs to be fun, right? So I just encourage people to do it sooner instead of later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Lee, why can't we use medical terms? Why is this not part of something that all the doctors would know about? I mean, if this is as wonderful as y'all are saying it is, then why doesn't the medical community have this? Can you answer that, Lee?
I can. Donnellyn mentioned that in the early goings of this, they were in a biotech company and they were going to fix it and flip it. They were in it for the investment value. And as the time evolved and went forward, and they realized what it was that they had, in that process, they were actually trying to make it, a drug, or to get a drug classification. They were going to be able to address some very significant diseases at the time with this. But because they could not use this to kill anything, to be a drug, you've got to be able to establish a toxicity level by showing the dose at which 50% of the mice die. And they just flat out couldn't kill anything at any dose. And so they realized they were going to fail in their efforts to be a drug. And so this is when Virtus came in and said, I think this should be a supplement. And they flipped it to the FDA's side of the supplement to be a supplement. And therefore, it's not for a disease. It's not for a condition. It's not been tested or cleared to be a drug. But notwithstanding that we can't mention a drug name or a disease name or speak in that regard, we can speak to cellular function, cellular health, which is what this does. And that's why it has such a broad application. Physicians aren't, by and large, aware of this because it is not a drug. Had this been a drug, I'm sure they would all have become aware of it. Although I'm hearing reports that more and more physicians are hearing about redox, just in general, and are kind of being moved in the direction of go learn about it because it's coming. It takes quite a number of years for something to go from, shall we say, the drawing table, to full clinical utility or acceptance. And we're just a bit ahead of that curve. But because it's not going to be brought to us by a drug company like a pharmaceutical company, it's going to be mostly word of mouth and through people's stories being told as to how people find out about it. So,
and I think that's the best way to have the world find out about it is organic. They trust you, you get to know people, they want to know your story. Then of course they get a story and then they can start sharing it. So it's just neat how it becomes a snowball effect. Now, Donnellyn, you were talking about very little. You mentioned the word nutrition, but when you're talking to these mamas back when you were doing this full time, in our 4-step regimen of nutrition, you would recommend the omega, which I know is exceptional, and you'd recommend the biome, right? Those would be the two. So maybe you can just dip into that, why those two. I mean, I know why they're so important, but you can relate that to mamas that are expecting, because there may be some watching tonight that would want to know. We've got the signaling, we've got the Renew 28, which is awesome for mamas, but go ahead and address those two exceptional nutritions.
Yes, so many uses for the Renew 28 during pregnancy and delivery and after for mamas and babies. But the biome and the omega, for one thing, is the cleanest that you can get. It's fresh, wild caught fish oil that's processed on the boat. So you never burp fish oil. And you know how pregnant women are a little funny in the tummy, especially during the beginning. And the last thing they need is something nasty from their vitamins. So I always put my girls on the omegas and the biome, because the biome is a prebiotic and a probiotic that helps prepare the gut and heal the gut. I have used probiotics for my entire career, and I've studied many of them. I've researched many of them, and I had my favorites. But this one is absolutely better than anything I found. You can feel a difference. You know that it's working from the way your system works. And there's so many things in pregnancy that start in the gut that can cause complications. And when your gut is healthy and thriving and all those microbiomes are working the way they're designed to, you just avoid things. So yeah. I always have girls on probiotic anyway. This one has been the best. I made sure that they took it as much of the pregnancy as they possibly can. Some people are on a tight budget and couldn't afford a lot of things, but I would highly recommend the probiotic prebiotic, probiotic, the biome now for at least the last trimester, because that's when the issues set in normally that are going to kind of put a wrench in the works. So they were just healthier all the way around. And I could sit down with a lady and name all the things, but you guys don't want to hear it. So just trust me. The prebiotic, the probiotic in biome is the best, and the fish oil is amazing. And then when they just had to, I recommended the minimal dose of the Redox. It just kept their bodies functioning the way they should. They're young and healthy anyway. If they're working with me, they were young and healthy, because I could not take any high risk girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
All
Sure.
normal pregnancies. And that just seemed, in my opinion, to keep things from getting out of normal. They just stayed normal, stayed healthy, absolutely no complications. And then the births were faster. Maybe it's a coincidence, but the group that took Redox delivered in an average of 7 hours. The group that didn't delivered in an average of 18 to 24 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You
yeah,
decide.
right. And they can read their own body. They probably knew pretty quick, well, this is not like my first one. Now that may have been their first child,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, a lot of those
so
were
they can
first-time
compare it.
moms,
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
first-time moms. And a first-time mom that can give birth in 7 hours is
Do it.
they're rocket, because that's not normal. 18 to
Right.
24 hours is normal for a first-time mom, but they
Yeah.
were just easier, non-complicated deliveries.
And those nutrition, yeah, that's awesome. The nutrition, what's neat is you get 100% absorption. So they're
Yeah.
getting all their nutrients. They can break it open and mix it in their foods. They don't have to pop a pill if they don't want. I love the omega. If you haven't tried it, you can actually chew it instead of just a swallow. You can actually chew those gels and of course, no burp. So it's just neat how,
And no horrible taste.
yeah, how everything about our company is intracellular, all from the skincare to what works
Yeah.
synergetically with Redox.
Exactly. The vitamins do work synergetically with the Redox, so that you do absorb them better and they work more efficiently, or at least they work, they're more compatible than any other supplement would be, because we have the Redox on board. Our body knows what to do and where to take the nutrition. I love that Alan says, if your cells aren't signaling, nothing else you do or take is going to matter. And I think my body proved that in the 16 months of trying everything, nothing worked. And then I started drinking Redox. Now, it probably helped me, although I didn't think it was, but it probably helped me, because then when I started drinking Redox, the cells knew what to do and my body began to get better. So it's just important to have them on board.
Now,
Exactly.
Donnellyn, you do use the other two nutraceuticals outside of pregnant mothers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just
Okay.
not.
I just want to make sure.
And the
I just
reason
want to make sure that
Yeah.
in order for them to have enough folate for pregnancy, they have to take almost double the amount of source that's recommended. And that's more expensive than the good prenatal that I put them on.
Okay.
I put them on a good organic prenatal, and that saved them money. So
Sure. Sure. For sure.
just a real quick, did you ever have any young couples that were having a hard time getting pregnant in the beginning? Did you see any assistance there?
I did. I only had one in all the ones that I recommended that did not seem to work for her. She ended up going to a specialty doctor that helped her get pregnant, but she stayed on the Redox for her entire pregnancy and still is on it now with her little 5-month-old baby. But many, many girls would begin to drink the Redox, and then things lined up and began to work. We know from the back of the bottle that it is a hormonal leveler. And I think that's why they had such great postpartum periods, because during postpartum, your hormones just kind of go like a roller coaster. And I'm telling you, the husbands loved me when I had
Yeah.
them. Yes. And the
Did-
hormones were natural level, because your body is in a state of homeostasis. Everything's working as it should. And hormones are the issue usually with inability to get pregnant, or having, unstable emotions.
Yeah.
Did you ever have the fellow that had an issue that you saw it work with? Because guys usually don't have any problem.
Right, but
Well,
occasionally
I'm joking. But there are a lot of men that do deal with that issue. So how did you
Yeah.
cope? How did you handle that?
I always recommended that both of them get on it. And
Okay.
we know that 3 months is the normal recommended protocol, but I would tell them give it 6 months. With hormone issues, it sometimes takes longer. So give it 6 months and see, because even at that, it's going to be so much more economical than the
And how much-
specialty doctors.
How much were you recommending they drink if they were having issues, or just a normal pregnant mother? How
Normal
much would you have her drinking?
Everything normal in the pregnancy, no issues, 4 ounces
Right.
a day. When they're trying to get pregnant and have not had any luck, I would put both of the couple on 8 ounces a day, or recommend that. I can only recommend anything. As a midwife, we could never prescribe, we could never dose, we just recommend. So I would recommend 8 ounces a day.
Yeah.
Now, in the last couple of minutes, this is the fastest hour in Asea. Donnellyn, you sold your beautiful, we were blessed to be able to stay there in what was once your home above the Midwifery, your 10,000 square foot amazing building. Why did you do that? Why did you transition out of that and into this business? What was your reason for that?
Probably the health challenges that Chris and I both went through. Chris worked for me as my admin in the office. He handled insurance and administration and billing and all of that stuff. And then when he had his issue, I didn't have help. And so then I was delivering the babies and trying to get that handled. My grandson, Austin, stepped in and did an amazing job of helping in that area. But it was just a lot. And then I was also trying to take care of Chris, because that first year, you're kind of prone to falling once you lose the ability to walk and have to relearn. And I was always scared to leave him alone. But I had to go deliver babies. I had to go do my prenatals. So I just felt like it was time. It was really time for us to do something different. It took me from 2018 to 2020 to get the sale done. And I probably still didn't do it well. I should have waited on the Lord. But we got it done, and I worked all the way through 2020. The amazing thing to me was, because I wasn't ever really in this for the money, that was not my goal or intention ever. I was just excited to help people because I was excited about what happened to me. But at the end of 2021, when the accountant finished all the taxes, I realized my income hadn't changed. A birth center that it took me 15 years to establish and build up the clientele and the income for, it was a good income. I was busy. But it took 15 years, and I invested several $100,000 doing it, and was under the thumbprint of the law all the time, having the state check things, so there's a lot of stress involved. And then you're also responsible for 2 lives every time someone goes into labor. So all
Well,
of
on
that,
top of the employees, I mean, how many employees did you have?
I had probably 5 full-time all the time, and then several students that were apprentices. And we were a full operating business. I had 2 to 3 midwives all the time, sometimes 4. But regardless, when I stepped back and went, oh my gosh, our income didn't change from last year to this year. I can't believe that. And that was like a gift. It was like another blessing, because what would we do when you work that kind of business? You only get paid if you work. I didn't have a retirement fund. I didn't have a 401k. I didn't have, we own land, we own the building, but I kept telling Chris, yeah, but what if we need money tomorrow? Great, I own land, but what if, it's not accessible. So to have had this build part-time, very part-time. The last year I had more time to invest, but very part-time. In 2018, 2019, I was busy. And then 2020, I had a little more time. I only kind of delivered less babies, the least I'd ever delivered in a year, and was finished by the end of the year. But to think that I could build the same income part-time basis in 3 years that it took 15 years to develop, I was blown away. I still am when I think about it.
And you're not on call all the time, like all those babies on call, middle of the night, shoot.
What about your stress level, Donnellyn? I mean, from where you were, I mean, how can you explain that to people? Because people are used to their normal no time routine every day and having their money run out before the end of the month. How's your stress level today versus where it was 3-4 years ago?
It's 100% different, 100%. And it probably took me 6 months, maybe 7 or 8, before I went to bed and went to sleep and didn't subconsciously think, oh, what if such and such calls? What if because I was so in tune with my phone. Still, if I get a text, I've gotten where I turn it off. But if I get a text in the middle of the night, I come out of that bed like I'm, whose birthday I need to go to. And it is a very stressful lifestyle. It's amazing and wonderful, so rewarding to be a part of that incredible time in life for women. And some of my clients, I'm working with one girl right now, and we're on her 7th baby together. What a blessing.
Yeah.
But it is stressful. It is stressful. And you don't know, the reason people need to never do an unattended birth is because you don't know when something might go wrong, that you need somebody there that knows what they're doing. Most of the time, birth's perfectly normal and everything's going to go fine. But that 10% that it's not, you can lose a life. So it's, you don't ever go into one lightly. You always go into them very prayerfully and continue to stay in communion with God the entire birth, and then rejoice when it's over.
Yeah.
And did you ever have and we're finishing up with time, but that's okay. Did you ever have an incident with a baby that you had to use any of these technologies on?
Absolutely.
I mean, can it hurt the baby? Is there any harm potentially to the baby?
It's 100% non-toxic. It can't hurt anything. And if I had a baby that was a little slow coming around, or its lungs were a little gunky, that's not a very medical term, but crackly, then I would just rub Renew 28 on the bottom of their feet and on their chest. Put the baby on the mama's breast, let the baby nurse, everything cleared up. I sent gel home with every mom. It was great for any challenges that she might need to recover from the actual birth process, because that's, that's quite an ordeal.
Sure.
And yeah, and then the baby, if they get a diaper rash, if they have a tummy ache, if they don't sleep well, you rub the gel on the bottom of their feet and they sleep like a baby.
Yeah, that's awesome. Colic, there's so many things they need it for. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen babies with tummy aches, and you can rub that gel on them and they'll be curling up, because it hurts. You rub that gel and give it about 3 minutes and they just relax.
Well,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've got to show y'all a picture here real quick.
This is Jim's second son.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't he adorable?
Isn't he adorable? The doctor said in the sonogram that he looked like a blueberry. So they
In the beginning when he was in the sonogram.
Right. Yeah. And so they middle named him Blue, Bleu. So we were just so excited. So I'm the bonus grandma. So I called myself Gran Ann. I'm not grandma. I'm just Gran Ann, which fits my name. But
So
we're going to actually meet them, and when they're stateside, they're in the United Kingdom.
he's in the Air Force in the UK right now.
So we're supposed to make a summer trip to see him on a short, quick day in California trip he's having for a few days, other states.
So anyway, Donnellyn, is there anything you want to say in closing, you and Lee?
No, I just appreciate everybody. I appreciate how much I've learned, how much grace I've been given through all of my blunders. You know that I called Alan Noble Alex when he interviewed me. I was like,
that was a doozy.
Let me crawl under the table, but he was so kind and gracious to me. And
Well, Alex, your grandson was right in front of you. That's why.
Yeah, he was.
Grandson. It is
And
easy.
Alan said, well, good, that must mean that you consider me family. I said, I do, thank you. And Lee has helped me so much since I've been on the medical professional board. I'm way, they are way above my pay grade in education and knowledge. But the thing I know about, I know very well, and it's different. But it's good. It's good for us to all work together and learn from each other. And I am just so blessed for everything that has happened since I finally answered the phone. I'm blessed, Jim, that you were persistent, and I'm blessed, Lee, that you wrote these 2 books.
Yes.
Redox Matters and Healthy Matters, because that has educated me so much deeper. I have always taught nutrition with my girls. It has been a major key, and I was not lenient on them. I made them do diet diaries. I checked on them every appointment. I made them exercise. I had them do relaxation exercises and everything that it took to have a normal, healthy birth for them. But also for me, I don't like to transport to the hospital. So nutrition is everything. But now, because of that book, I understand it on a cellular level that I didn't eat. I mean, it was a step above what I had an understanding of before. So I love everything and everybody. This has been a blessing beyond anything I can even express.
Wow.
Yeah, we're excited you're here tonight.
We love you. I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Next week, guys, we have a very special guest, and Dr. Lee Osler.
Dentist, all of that.
So
he's going to
talk about Redox Matters, which is a blessing that he has given to us and to all the people of the world.
And then the newest one.
Lee, you want to say anything to wrap up?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I really look forward next week to kind of getting down into the nerdy gritty stuff of cellular health.
Can you make it so I can understand it, Lee?
We're going to have to educate you, yes.
Okay.
But I wanted to make one last comment here. One of the things I was hoping that would come out in today's episode with Donnellyn was the impact of how this changes lives. And as she told her story and her husband's story and the work that she does with, all the clients that she dealt with in her practice, and of course, is reflected in, Jim and Ann's story and mine, which we didn't really even get to, but the theme here that comes out is how it changes lives and how your life has been affected by it. And it goes back to what Donnellyn just said. It's like getting straight with nutrition, getting straight with all the what I call the rules of the cell. If you lived your life by the way the rules of your cell dictated, we probably wouldn't have much disease. And that's why we do have, dysfunction and problems, is we're not living closer to the way our cells were designed to function. And so this is a really great advancement, a breakthrough in our day and age, where we understand these principles, both at a superficial level as well as a very deep scientific cellular biology level. But above and beyond that is the human side of it, the touch of human beings with human beings, sharing how it's affected their life. And so I would just encourage everybody who's spent an hour with us here and listening to these stories and these life-changing experiences, do yourself a favor. If you're not taking or on this Redox lifestyle journey, just step into the dark just a little bit. I know it's not always well illuminated in front of the path, but have a little faith, set aside your disbelief if you need to, and trial it and get your cells lined up with how those rules operate and watch the changes that happen in your life, and then share it. Be a little bold and step out there. Imagine none of us and none of the people that we talk to would have their lives or our lives changed had somebody before us not told us about it. So, but anyway, thank you, Donnellyn. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very
much.
This recording will be available on redoxmatters.com under the 5. It'll be there within the hour. So if you want to have people go there to watch it, please feel free.
Yep.
And get back, like Dr. Osler said, get back to the person that brought you onto this call. But do a little bit more than that and invite someone else to listen. Every Friday we do this. Donnellyn is one of our absolute favorite, but we have a lot of favorites. We have a lot of people that want to give their time so that we can educate the world. Because if we don't talk, they're not going to hear. So guys, we love you all. Thank you so much, Donnellyn. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
We will have Dr. Osler next week. We will be off for Good Friday, and then we'll be doing this show live from Las Vegas by Dr. Osler's table. Yes, Donnellyn.
I just want to thank you. I was at the very beginning of when you started doing, before it was the Asea 5, before you started doing the Aseas on Friday night. I talked several times because I was brand new and my story was a big deal. And I just want to thank you because you have grown and expanded it. Now you have all these wonderful teachers and leaders to help us understand. And every person speaks to someone differently. And it's so great to have all this education through this Friday night thing. And I know it's a lot of effort on your part, and we all appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes.
It's what we say. It's paying it forward.
Yep.
We have an obligation to humanity to share this.
Yeah.
So guys, we thank you. We love y'all. And we'll see you next Friday with Dr. Lee Osler. Go get his book.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
See you then. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Donnellyn. Have a great day tomorrow.